Stefon Diggs reports to camp finally. We have some news to break on that. We've got Justin Herbert, potential contract situation. We got to talk about that. Hopkins, is he going to New England? Breece Hall, is there a worry about his ACL now, his recovery? I'll talk about that little rumor that you can tell by the look on my face I don't necessarily agree with. We're breaking it all down right now and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So let's kick it off with the Breece Hall news because this is just a weird one of those athletic reports. There's 1,000 different athletic report writers, beat writers. This particular one, Zach Rosenblatt, dropped a little splat on the screen saying he's skeptical. He is skeptical, not the coaching staff, nobody of substance, nobody coming with authority with this piece of information, but people are running with it. But guess what? It's good news for Breece Hall believers. Why? I'll tell you why. Because this man is now going to dip a little bit in value because one beat reporter named Zach Rosenblatt said he's skeptical Breece Hall will have a seamless return to the Jets lineup. Why? What's your evidence there, Zachy boy? Because everything, including the rest of this report on CBS, said that nothing but great reports have come out on Breece Hall. He's been nothing but ahead of schedule. So for that reason, we Smitty approve this report, but quietly.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And we recognize that there's no substance to this piece at all. I don't know if he's trying to lower his fantasy value so he can draft him, but he's skeptical. Why is he skeptical? Because he doesn't know ACL recoveries? Maybe that's it. Maybe he doesn't know the difference between a good ACL recovery, the preparedness that I talk about all the time. It is Breece Hall season.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hull of a job. A hull of a job. A hull of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a job.
Get Breece.
Let people spread these kind of rumors. It's only good for us. I imagine Breece Hall, who's flirting with mid-third round value, probably falls to a late third round value. I'm telling you, I'm on this like no other. There's nothing of substance to this. If there is something, if he suffers some sort of setback, I'll be the first to let you know. The fact that there's been nothing but amazing reports, glowing reports, flowers falling from the sky, ponies falling around everywhere, just running around, galloping everywhere. This guy is a unicorn.
He is a unicorn.
So definitely use this to your advantage. Don't get upset or freaked out. I can't tell you the amount of DMs and comments and text messages from buddies saying, "Hey, Breece isn't doing good." Who said? One man said that he's skeptical for no good reason. His value tanks. This is crazy, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic, and we need to take advantage of any sort of fall in Breece Hall's value whatsoever. So this is a nothing burger piece of news. Now you know. Diggs showed up to practice today, which was great. Bills coach Sean McDermott said that Diggs and the team are in a real good spot. He didn't show up to the early part of the practice, showed up to the facility, then resumed practice in the afternoon. So good news that Diggs is in there. There's no sort of holdout going on. There's no sort of prolonged return to the lineup and practice and the meshing with this unit out there on the field, which could cause concern for continuity and injury concern. So very good news. I guess going back to what we said last night, where we said, if we're on the clock and Garrett Wilson's there and Diggs is there, maybe a lot of people were saying, I'll go Diggs. I'll go Diggs. I still don't change my mind. I'm going Garrett Wilson if Diggs is on the clock. And that means that I'm always getting Garrett Wilson probably, every single time over Diggs. And I don't think you're ever going to be in a position where you're going to draft Diggs and Garrett Wilson's gone unless you're drafting in our community. I'm not saying you can't go draft Diggs. I'm not saying Diggs can't have a phenomenal season. But this man is going to turn 30 by the end of the season, or in the November. I think his birthday's in November. He'll be 30. Not saying he can't deliver one more, maybe even two more elite seasons. And we're talking redraft. You could say, Smitty, I don't care about, the dynasty value in a redraft. But all I'm saying is that when we're talking about a player that's got a lot of little tiny, red flags in terms of his attitude, his on the sideline behavior, off the field behavior, it's just concerning to the point where push comes to shove. I'm going to lean in the direction of the rising star wide receiver in Garrett Wilson, who I think could be top 1 to 5. I truly believe that. I think he could be top 1 to 5. I'm not saying 1 to 5 to be dramatic. I truly believe he can dance in that top 1 to 5 all year long. Do I think Chase finishes 1? Yeah. Do I think that Jefferson finishes 1 or 2? Yeah. Do I think that Garrett Wilson could be 3? I really do think he could dance all around that territory all season long. And so for that reason, because of the drama that comes with this guy, even though he's reporting, I still have Garrett Wilson ahead of him. And I'm not afraid to draft that way. Now, do I drop Diggs because of his potential dramatic situation here in that he's not happy in Buffalo? We truly don't know what's going on at the heart of all this. And are they just brushing everything under the rug and then later on something creeps up? Maybe. You just never know. You never know. So for that reason, I have Garrett Wilson higher, but I'm not dropping him much past like 12. So if someone says, Smitty, you're wrong about Diggs, he's going to have a good year. How am I wrong about Diggs? I'm not saying he can't have a good year. 1, maybe 2 good years left, and I'm drafting him 12, 13, maybe 11 overall, and I'm fine with that. That's not me saying he's going to bust. Why would I tell anybody to draft him 12 overall, the 12th fantasy football player, if I felt like he was going to bust? I just think that safer options are kind of available. Bijan, Garrett Wilson, in communities that are not littered with our people, our amazing drafters, you will find Bijan or Garrett Wilson available almost 9 times or 10 times out of 10. That's all I'm saying. That means that I probably just won't own a lot of Diggs because I'll get my guy Garrett Wilson. I'll get my guy Bijan Robinson, and I have no problem making those players my number 1 overall drafted player walking into 2023. Overcome says Wilson, Hall, stack might be possible. It could be with Hall probably falling to off this news right here that I already explained is a nothing burger. This guy is no substantial anything to go with this. He's skeptical Breece Hall will have a seamless return. Why? Because you vaguely know about ACL returns? Because you think all ACL recoveries are the same? That's just my opinion of what he's saying this, why he's saying this. I have no idea why he's saying it, but why on earth? Explain yourself. Like, what do you mean? Skeptical of what? What have you seen? And this could have Breece Hall falling into the bottom of round 3 if it catches fire and people start talking about it. We will see. We will see. Overcome, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Diggs reported. That's great news for Josh Allen. Great news for the Bills. Great news for Diggs. The Bills will probably win a Super Bowl, in my opinion, in one of the next 5-6 years. Does this guy concern me? Absolutely. Do I think he's probably going to have a good year? I do. Am I worried? The fact that he's there, a lot of my concerns get flushed away. If he was going to drag this out even a little bit, like weeks or whatever, I'd have some real concerns with the Buffalo Bills. I'd have some real concerns with Diggs being in the right state of mind to play football and not have all this external stuff just dragging his season down, and let's say he starts off slow, then he gets flustered and upset. But the fact that Diggs showed up, I'm not really concerned anymore from a redraft perspective. But in Dynasty, I'm getting rid of him because he's turning 30 years old in November. DeAndre Hopkins, here's a good one. DeAndre Hopkins, there's optimism that the Patriots and DeAndre Hopkins can reach an agreement on a contract. This is what we said over here. I still got the table chart up here. 40% chance that this is going to be New England. I'm going to change this to a 55% chance. So we'll take Tennessee out. We'll go 55% chance that he goes to New England. We'll say Cleveland is this percentage. Tennessee, actually, we'll go like this. Cleveland, a little bit bigger piece of the pie right here. I feel like that's probably a fair assessment. Cleveland has the biggest part of the pie outside of that 55%. But 55% chance, if I had to guess, that Hopkins is a New England Patriot. Bill loves him. Bill wants him. Bill can't get enough of DeAndre Hopkins. The question will be, is this good for fantasy? It's better than Tennessee in my mind. I'm not saying they aren't kind of comparable, but I'm much more happy with this landing spot than I am this landing spot because I think this team is better than this team. That means the end zone will be frequented more often. They'll live in the red zone a little more often, even though I don't trust Mac Jones. I trust Zappy a little more. I don't trust Levis at all. Levis is looking awful in camp so far. Tannehill is garbage anyway. I don't see a good quarterback or a good offense or a good offensive line or good field position for the Tennessee Titans in 2023. In fact, I'd venture to say the Cardinals, unfortunately, that's I'm in Arizona. The Cardinals, I would say the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Titans are the three worst teams in the National Football League in 2023. And so for that reason, I want nothing to do with my players or any player I may own, may or may not own, going to that location. Tennessee is out for me. I want nothing to do with Tennessee. Nothing. I want nothing to do with the Raiders. Absolutely nothing. I want nothing to do with the Cardinals unless it's Dynasty. I might go after Michael Wilson. I don't want James Conner in redraft. I don't want Derrick Henry unless he falls to like late third round territory in one or two leagues. Maybe 5% of my leagues, 1 to 5% of my leagues, I might be interested in Derrick Henry being a third round pick for me. And that's just to say that he maybe miss his time in the middle of the year. You have some good supplemental players to throw in the meantime. You're not out that much, and he returns and has a strong finish. That's always a possibility for Derrick Henry if I had to like map out a best case scenario for Derrick Henry. But I want nothing to do with Titans players. I don't want Burks. I kind of like Okonkwo. I'd say that he's probably the only player that I kind of like out of all the players. I want nothing to do with Jacobs, nothing to do with Devontae Adams, not at cost of entry. Okonkwo I do. That's about it. Michael Wilson, the rookie wide receiver for the Cardinals in Dynasty, that's about it. I don't like Kyler. I don't like any part of these three teams in 2023. I like my players on good teams. And so back to Hopkins, Russian collusion gifting 20 gifted memberships.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Appreciate you, Russian collusion dropping a 20 watt on screen. Appreciate you by way of gifted memberships. Thank you, collusion. Collusion to the moon. Hopkins in New England's better than Hopkins in Tennessee, and I'd say by a long country mile at this point. I really believe that. I think that Mac Jones, I don't like him, but I like him more than Tannehill. I like him more than Levis. Hearing bad things about Levis, and I didn't like Levis in to begin with. I didn't like Levis at all to begin with. So, Mr. Frost, a Smitty 4-year follower, and I try to remind you every year for auction draft content. Okay, We'll try and do an auction. I'll try and do a live auction on a video one of these days. Appreciate you being here, pal. Appreciate your 4 years of dedication. Hopkins in, let's say, Buffalo is a monster. Hopkins in KC is a monster. Hopkins in... I'm trying to think of like a mediocre location. If we go like Chicago, like Cleveland. Cleveland's a good location. Not amazing, but very good. Cooper's there. It's kind of crowded. I don't really know what to make of Hopkins yet, or of Watson yet, but Watson and Hopkins have that rapport from Houston. So of course, you like that. That's not bad at all. This is lesser than this. Cleveland Hopkins would probably be a 1,000-yard, 1,200, 1,100-yard wide receiver. Let's call it 1,100. Maybe 8 to 10 touchdowns, 75 to 80 receptions. That would be a really good season for Hopkins. The question is, can Hopkins deliver that kind of good to great production in New England? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to have that kind of year. I think Hopkins could be hard-pressed to get 1,000 yards. I could see like 1,010, like 10-10. I can see him getting 10-10, 6 to 7 touchdowns, 70 receptions. I don't see numbers that are Cleveland Brown numbers. I definitely don't see numbers that are Chief or Buffalo Bill numbers. But Hopkins in New England's pretty good. It's decent. It's decent. It's 1,000 yards, 6 to 7 scores. That's good enough, and it makes him increase the value of the offense and the likelihood that the offense trickles its way into the 20s, into the red zone, which is good for Stevenson. Hopkins is good for Stevenson. The person this helps most is Stevenson. I like that it's not taking away from anybody, because I don't have like a huge Hopkins interest. I don't have a lot of shares. I'm not cranking out a lot of Hopkins content. This feels to me like the best scenario going to New England, because it doesn't take away from Kincaid. It doesn't take away from Diggs, which Hopkins surely would. It doesn't take away from Tony, Kadarius Toney's breakout season we think that he could have. Obviously, Hopkins would help Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, any quarterback he goes to play with. So in a sense, we'd be hit in the Kincaid department if Hopkins went and played in Buffalo, but we'd get a bump for Josh Allen. If Hopkins went to KC, we get hit a little bit on the Kadarius Toney predictions and love that we have for him, but Mahomes would see increased value. So Hopkins would increase and hurt value if he went elsewhere. I like New England because it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't hurt anybody. It gives Stevenson a nice little bump, and I like that Stevenson gets that bump because Stevenson has a little bit of concern. If we're going to throw any concern around, and I don't want you to think I don't love Stevenson. I love Ramondre Stevenson. Find somebody talking higher about Stevenson than this show and channel, because his rookie year in the preseason, when he ripped off a couple touchdown runs, I came out and said, this guy's the future. Damian Harris is the past. Wait until the takeover happens. Steven will win you leagues at the very end of the season if you grab him and hold him. That was before last year. That wasn't last year. Last year we loved him, but the year prior I loved Stevenson, and I pushed a lot of Stevenson at the end of drafts. Scoop him up, hang on to him, hold him. Stevenson's intriguing. He's very, very intriguing. And the fact that he doesn't have the red flags, they're not present as much when Hopkins is in the situation, because if the offense is stretching the field more, I really like Hopkins in New England. I love that Stevenson becomes not somebody defenses are constantly focused on shutting down. If New England doesn't have Hopkins, Stevenson will be a focal point of defensive game plans on the weekly. Every week, a defense is going to walk into that situation and go, let's try and stop Ramondre Stevenson. He's their best receiver. He's their best rusher. He's their most likely touchdown producer and chain mover. So why would a defense not focus on shutting down Ramondre Stevenson? Do you know what this guy's been living? What kind of world he's been living in his entire career? Double Teamville. double team world. This guy's always double teamed. He probably will get a lot of double team consideration from opposing defenses. And what does that do for Ramondre? Opens up rushing lanes, even if it's just a little bit. Even if the A gap gets just a little bit more open, the B gap, just if the passing lane gets just a little bit spread open, this guy Stevenson is going to find a seam and rip off 2, 3, 4 more yards on that play, 5 more yards on that play, 7 more yards on that play. Hopkins equals better efficiency, better yards per catch, better yards per carry for Stevenson. This is a match made in heaven for a couple different reasons. Reasons that aren't really related to Hopkins being an absolute stud, but he could be good enough. I like Zappe enough. I think Zappe gets in there. I don't believe that Mac Jones holds on to the football or holds on to their job for very long. So that's my take on that. But yeah, Hopkins looking like, in my opinion, a lead dog candidate to go to the New England Patriots. Justin Herbert, this was an interesting quote today. When asked about a potential hold-in where he would show up, not do much, show up to the facility, essentially not hold out and get fined or anything like that, but not play, not put his body in jeopardy. I'm feeling tight today, I'm not going to go out there and practice. That is what the new holdout, looks like, where you hold in, you show up, you don't do anything. I don't see Herbert doing that. I think he's a better leader than that. I don't think he comes in and holds in. I think his comment of, would you hold in, Justin? I guess we'll see, is his final lifeline, final push to get the contract negotiation ironed out and totally moving in the right direction. I think he's just saying that to try and create a little bit of buzz, to try and create a little bit of pressure, because if beat reporters are reporting on this, if the local news is picking this up and there's a lot of pressure applied by the fan base, why are you not giving our guy Herbert a contract? I think it does push them in the right direction. At the end of the day, this doesn't seem like a Herbert move to me, but you never know. You never know what a player's intentions are, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this isn't going to be something to worry about as far as a hold-in. I think Justin Herbert lands a big, fat contract. I think Joe Burrow lands a big, fat contract before the season starts. These two guys are going to be two of the highest paid 4 quarterbacks in the National Football League. And for a lot of people to think that I'm not a big Herbert supporter, or that I don't like Herbert because I didn't rank him inside my top 6 quarterbacks for fantasy football 2023, that's not the case, and that's an unfair assessment of my evaluation of Herbert. I said multiple times in my video, and I continue to say whenever I talk about Herbert, it's not a matter of if he bounces back, it's a matter of when. With a new offensive coordinator, a new offense, Eckler, 28 years old, injuries always, riddling that wide receiver room. The fact they got 3 wide receivers now, Quentin Johnston's in the fold, I mean, that's good news. But the fact that we haven't seen Herbert bounce back yet, I think there's nothing wrong with putting him at 7. Putting him at 7, you could have him 5 or 6. Nothing wrong with that either. But for someone to have T-Law and Fields, which are the only other 2 quarterbacks that can make up the top 6, when you have Mahomes, Hurts, Burrow, and Josh Allen as your top 4. Okay, those are the top 4. They're locked in. There are only 2 more slots available for someone's top 6. I did a top 6 video. I put Fields at 5. I put T-Law at 6. And for some reason, it rubs a lot of people the wrong way that, like Herbert, instead of looking at it like, okay, Herbert's the kind of guy you're going to get a little bit later than that on occasion. And if you are getting him later, that's a good deal. And if you want to go that route, I'm all for it. I'm not going to go that route because I'm going the T-Law route. I'm going the T-Law. I'm going to get me some Lion's Mane milk.
Law Dog Milk for Manes on sale this season. Soak your mane and win a league. Law Dog Milk.
Pour, soak, win. Pour, soak, win. You can go down the Justin Herbert track if you want, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. But Fields and T-Law are my 5 and 6, and I'm not apologizing for it. Doesn't mean I hate Herbert. Doesn't mean I hate Herbert at all. Doesn't mean Herbert can't bounce back. Doesn't mean Herbert can't flirt with the 5 to 7 range with Fields and with T. Law. But I like T. Law in my 5 or 6. Fields isn't being removed from my 5 or 6. We just run out of room, plain and simple.
A lion lives among us, posing as half man, half lawman. His golden mane is reportedly 6 feet long and is bathed in milk.
That's right.
His marvelous mane grows longer with each breath he takes. Legend has it that if you say T-Law in the dark in the bathroom 3 times, you lose your league instantly. Conspiracy fanatics have linked his triangle bone structure to the ancient pyramids and alien theory.
I mean, T-Law, there's a reason we have these animations for T-Law. There's a reason we keep talking about him. He's not going anywhere. He is top 6 locked. Plain and simple. C. Knox says Herbert, and there are a lot of Herbert believers. I know you guys love Herbert, and I know I get the excuse a lot from people that says he was hurt last year. You know what? Who was hurt? Every single other quarterback was hurt. Mahomes was hurt, hampered worse than Herbert was, could barely run or be mobile. The guy won a Super Bowl and hobbled his way through. I'm not trying to rip on Herbert. I'm just merely saying don't give me the excuse of he was injured, okay? Because Jalen Hurts was suffering from a really bad shoulder injury as well. Josh Allen had a tear or a sprained UCL all year. Don't give me that. Fields was injured and still doing damage. Everybody was hurt. The truth of the matter is Herbert failed last year, and I'm very hopeful that Herbert can bounce back. I really am, and I'm really confident he will. Again, with me, it's not a matter of if, it's just when. But there's no way I'm putting Herbert, who just crapped the bed on everybody last year. You can't use injury as an excuse. Everybody was hurt. There's no way I'm putting Herbert above Fields or T-Law. Doesn't mean I'm disrespecting Herbert even a little bit. It disrespects T-Law and Fields for you to say, how can you not have Herbert in your top 6? I like Herbert. T-Law's coming for you. T-Law's coming for you. That is the news as of now. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yeah. Okay. T-Law is a bust. Come back at the end of the year, pal. Come back at the end of the year. Come back at the end of the year and buy you some T-Law milk, some Mang milk.
Law Dog Milk for Maines on sale this season. Soak your mane and win a league. Law Dog Milk.
Get you some Maine milk. Pour, soak, win. We got a $10 hauler here from Thomas. Thomas dropping a serious wad here on the channel here. Moonshot.
To the moon.
Moonshot for you, pal. Moonshot for you. Yo, Steady, talk about my dynasty yesterday. Now have Love, Goff, Hooker, Bijan, Walker, Charbonnet, Garrett Wilson, Watson, Laporta. Need a wide receiver. Okay, so you have Goff, Love, Hooker. You ended up getting Hooker and Goff cuffed together. You got Laporta. Very, very nice. Now you're on the clock. You need a wide receiver. Evans, Juju, Hyatt, Mims, Reed, Sky Moore, Mechie, Tank Dell. Wow. I'd probably say if Tank Dell can fall, like if he's ranked really low, you want to wait on him. Dell is 15 spots down. On wide receiver rankings or on overall? If it's overall, I guess you just push the button and draft him. If it's 15 wide receiver spots, you can wait. Go Hyatt and then take Tank Dell after that. Tank Dell's very, very underrated. So I'm guessing you mean 15 wide receiver spots. But if it's overall spots, then I don't blame you for punching it on Tank Dell because his time is now. Nice job, Thomas. Nice job. Good job with that team, bro. And D-Hop, baby, let's get him. Says Bella, check yourself. I think it's a 50-55% chance off my arbitrary guesswork number. I just feel like Bill is so amped up about him. And I think Hopkins wants to feel respected, wanted, and loved and cherished. And I think Bill will do that. I think Bill loves this guy more than any other coach in the National Football League. So I think it's going to get done. I think it will. I think Bill's going to talk him into staying there. I just don't know if it's the best spot for him, but it certainly isn't bad. It could be better, but we love it for Ramondre. It's great for Ramondre. I'd rather have Ramondre have increased value from Hopkins' landing spot than Hopkins have increased value. Honestly, I love Ramondre that much. I want Ramondre to have no worries or concerns or just 8-man front after 8-man front facing him. Now with Hopkins, I mean, good Lord, Ramondre is going to have so much more room to navigate. Ron Navy, you're live.
I noticed you didn't say Marsman Ron Navy.
Marsman Ron Navy.
That's because I haven't gotten my Marsman card like everybody else has. What's up with that? Did I get like disqualified or something?
I hope
I have no Marsman card.
I sent it to you. I sent it to you. I hope it didn't get lost in the storm.
Out how they got their Marsman card, and I don't have mine. So I don't believe this.
It's probably because you're where you live. It's probably like a 5 extra day journey.
Heck, I can drive. I can drive to where Terry's at one day over to Houston.
Yeah.
And
well, hey, Ron, yours is the only one that I had to get tracking for. So I'll look it up. Yours is a bigger package. I got Ron a 5XL, the Fantasy Football Show shirt, rolled up. You what?
I'm just messing with you. I know it'll get here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were messing with me that you got it. Probably got lost in the storm, Ron.
I haven't got it yet, but I'm just messing with you about it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about Hopkins in New England? You agree that that's a nice little spot considering what it does for Ramondre?
I don't know. I thought I still like him better on Tennessee.
No, that wasn't my question, Ron. That wasn't my question. Here he goes. Here he is going back to Tannehill again, and Ron's willing this to happen. He wants Tennessee so badly, but does it help Ramondre? I think it does. I think it helps Ramondre a lot more than it. You what?
But I don't trust the quarterback to be able to get him the ball that good. So I mean, yeah, you can have these players, but I mean, can he get him the ball? That's the question. Oh, doesn't Russian collusion? That reminded me. He did like $100 thing. He has a bold prediction still, right? Coming up.
I believe he does. And he just dropped. Hold on, he just dropped a $20.
Alert! Super chat alert!
Collusion.
Super chat alert.
Dropping a $20 wad on screen. Appreciate you, Collusion. We got a couple other super chats real quick, Ron. Hold on one second. Collusion says, Smitty, after the news, please see the gram I sent. I went way off my normal draft plan. Okay, I'll go look at your team in 1 second. Thank you, Collusion. Appreciate you. Dallas Sports says, why is Travis Etienne not on the Moonman list? We can only fit so many Moonman. He was on it last year. He broke out on the list, and I think we did a real good job predicting that. And I don't know that we're just going to throw everybody from last year back on the list, but he's certainly capable of climbing on it. There is like one more. I'm going to add one more player. I'm going to add one more player to the Moonman list. Let me show the Moonman list.
The Moonmen, dropping loads in outer space.
There probably will be one more addition.
Space Moon says.
And players could move off it to make room for that. The only player that feels like, and Ron's going to get a kick out of this, and I'm not saying I don't love Swift, but the only player that feels the riskiest that I could remove and say put him on the satellite man list and demote him would either be Swift or I don't even know who else I would potentially move off if I had to. And it wouldn't be because I don't love him. I love Swift, but if there's a better player, I could put, especially if it's an RB, I could put that player here. And it wouldn't shock me if ETN replaced him, like in the last second. We don't have to have everybody on the Moonman list yet. The Moon Man list is evolving. It's also exciting to drop, new Moon Men here and there. So I didn't want to fill it all up before, it's June. Like, it's June right now. Like, I put T Law on there not too long ago, and it's June. It's not July. It's not August. It's not September. We're in June, and I'm trying to pace myself a little bit. And ETN has a little bit of risk we talk about all the time with the way they want to run potentially multiple running backs, but I believe that ETN is going to get more receiving work, so I'm not concerned about that. I know a lot of people are concerned about that, but absolutely love ETN. There's no like major concern here, and we're higher on him than most, and the risk is worth taking in my mind, as long as you're drafting him in the right spot, which honestly sometimes he falls to like round 4, but he's usually around 3.5 where I find him, and I'm fine with that. That's acceptable risk level. But if he climbed like into round 2, there'd be a little bit different amount of risk that you'd have to look at. But I hope he falls. I hope people just hate this Tank Bigsby concern. I hope people are concerned about the comments that Peterson's made about dialing back his rushing attempts, and people don't consider that maybe he's getting more receiving work than ever when he just played his first ever year. It's not like he's played 2 seasons. He was injured, never played a single snap his rookie year. So he was learning pass protection in a brand new offense because Urban Meyer left a mess when he departed after year 1 of T-Law and ETN's first year. And so last year was like a rookie year for T-Law and ETN. So to think ETN won't do better, I think is hilarious in the PPR game. And I'm all about him. Dallas. There's nothing wrong with ETN. At the right price, he's a phenomenal player to grab. Would you recommend Brian Robinson and a wide receiver like Wilson, or double receiver or double RB? Oh, Bijan. I think you mean Bijan Robinson. Bijan and Garrett Wilson. I draft best player available. And I can tell you right now that if you have Bijan and Garrett Wilson, you have the best players available, because those are both top 8 overall players to me. So if you're able to get one of those in round 2 in a grandma league, Bryson, punch that button. Smitty approved. In fact, I'll give you a veto police, a cat call, because there's no way you should be getting both of those guys. I have my draft in 8 days with all my buddies. I hope you steal away Bijan somehow, but I don't think you will. And Bijan's probably going higher than Garrett Wilson in your draft, even if your buddies are a little bit unaware of what's going on. I don't think you get both those guys unless you're playing in a 6-man league. But yeah, of course I would take Bijan and Garrett Wilson, but I don't draft positions, I draft players, and so that might lead me down a Garrett Wilson, St. Brown track. It might lead me down a Bijan and Breece Hall track. Although Breece Hall news today about the Atlantic writer, there it is again, Ron, an Atlantic writer just saying that he's skeptical Breece will be seamless. His return will be seamless to the lineup. And I don't agree with that. That's his opinion. My opinion is different. But hopefully that opinion of his that's on a bigger stage news-wise influences everybody to maybe talk about it, and then it gets kicked around a few places, and then before you know it, 5 or 6 reports are reporting it, because that one report from NBC Sports where this beat writer from The Atlantic said that he's skeptical that Breece Hall will have a seamless transition back into the lineup. I had so many DMs and people freaking out. I almost went live just on that, but it was close enough for me to just wait for the show. I hope it influences a lot of people.
I think we all should just become Atlantic writers. That's where it's at. We can just post anything we want, and everybody will make the money off of BS stuff.
Yeah,
it's not even
it's
validated.
crazy. I wish assume we will get more pull on the show. When I say something someday, somebody will be like, hey, on the Fantasy Football Show, they was said that this. But right now, I could say anything. I could say Breece Hall looks fantastic in practice, I must say. And it's not going anywhere. It's not. I'm not a news writer, and so nobody's perpetuating my takes or information. But I am a news show. And I, it goes as far as it goes. Good for you guys right now. Eventually, we're going to have bigger reach. And maybe what we say echoes through eternity. Who knows? But right now, take advantage. I think my Mars Man card's broken, says Sick Nasty. What do you mean it's broken?
It's broken.
Is he trying to call in or something? Salty, you're live.
Hey, what up, Smitty?
What's up, Salty?
I got this underdog draft here, pulling it up. I was wondering your thoughts here. It was
all right. Don't give me the whole thing. Just give me the starting lineup.
Nah, I won't. So, 2 quarterbacks: Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Running backs: ETN, Pierce, Khalil Herbert, Chase Brown.
ETN, Pierce, Khalil Herbert, Chase Brown. Okay.
And then top 4 receivers: I got Amon-Ra, Olave, Dotson, Elijah Moore. And I got Tank Dell, too. Let's throw that in there.
All right.
Tight end, Sam Laporta, Jelani Woods.
I like how you still gave me everybody. He's like, yeah, I won't give you everybody. It's all right. You read it quick. It was good. It was fine. Burrow.
Definitely left off a goal.
Burrow, ETN, Pierce. Your 2 running backs are ETN and Pierce, your top 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good team. Burrow, ETN, Amon-Ra, Olave. Yeah, I mean, it's a good team. I mean, you need a couple things to happen. Pierce needs to ball out. ETN needs to ball out. And then, I think you're going to be right there. Do I think you could draft, like, if you were to retry this approach over and over and over, do I think you'd run into a couple better, like, lays of the land? Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people say spread your eggs around. And I do give that advice a lot in fantasy football. A lot in redraft. If you do 2 or 3 redraft leagues, you do not want one injury taking out your 3 fantasy leagues and then you have nothing to play for. In best ball, though, I have a little bit different look at it. I'm very much in the mode right now, and I'll do it differently with each series. Like the Puppy 2, I'll do something over and over and over and over. The Puppy 1, I did something else over and over and over. And I'm not saying I'll have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10. I do a lot of drafts where I do something completely different. I have some variation amongst each series, but I'm very, very much of the thinking that if you apply your theory and your general strategy 100 times in a row, you're going to get every single variation that you could possibly get your hands on. And every once in a while, somebody falls instead of Pierce that shouldn't fall. And you've got just an absolute, like, crazy team. And you're looking at it going, holy crap. Or somebody falls even better than Dotson, and you have, like, another player here instead of Moore. And I'm very, very much about applying the same theory over and over. Kind of like doing an NCAA bracket. When I do an NCAA bracket, I don't do 3 totally different brackets. I do a little bit of, like, a fork in the road. Okay, I kind of want to go this team. On the next bracket, I'll do that, and that will be my change. I'll keep a lot of the other variables the same. Yeah. That's what I love to do, and I think my point is, if you did this over and over and over, you're going to draft a better team than this. But I do like it. I like the theory.
Typically, I wouldn't go Pierce where I went him, but this was kind of my change of pace draft, actually. That's kind of why I called him with the team. Because that's the first time I drafted Pierce in best ball. And I was trying something different. I just wanted to know your thoughts, on that, because I drafted some guy, like I haven't taken Amon-Ra yet before this. Took Pierce, but looking back at this draft board, I definitely left some value on the board, like you're saying here.
Yeah.
It looked like Swift was available, so.
Hey, hang tight real quickly. Let me get Collusion's team on here, because I told Collusion I would look at his. Collusion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one sec. Collusion, let me look at yours real quick, pal. I'll try and drag it on screen here if I can. And then we'll look at it together. So let's see if that transferred over. Okay, this is Russian Collusion's team right here. Russian took Patrick Mahomes at QB, Derek Carr, Ritter. He's got Kenneth Walker, Pierce, Charbonnet, Jerome Ford, Spears. I mean, to cuff Walker and Charbonnet, and then you have one running back option, and that's it with Pierce. But I would like one more running back. I think I'm not a big Spears guy at all. With one ACL, he's got one ACL. Drake London, Quentin Johnston, Michael Thomas, Sky Moore, Mingo, Hyatt, Dell, and then Kelsey. I was kind of Kelsey and Andrews. Wow. Okay, so he's doing what Ron Navy and I do a whole bunch at quarterback. We take two of the big 5 or 6 quarterbacks. And oftentimes I'll take Trevor Lawrence as that second quarterback too to kind of help myself beef up my running backs and wide receivers a little bit more. But I'll take Burrow and Hurts. I'll take Burrow and Josh Allen. I'll take Mahomes and Burrow. I'll take Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. I'll take Fields especially as well in the 5th or 6th round. Fields with Burrow. Fields with Mahomes. And I believe in this is a 1 QB format, this particular puppy 2 that we're talking about here. Even in a 1 QB format, it gives you that rotational scoring that's just amazing. You can play that same game at tight end. And so Kelsey and Andrews is a very, very interesting way to apply that same thinking, but just on the side of the tight end position. It could be really, really crazy good, or it could be, hey, Kelsey's so good, Andrews is barely ever outscoring him, and you wasted an opportunity to get another big name wide receiver in that Quentin Johnston spot. So it'll be really fun to see how this plays out. I think, I don't know. I kind of feel like Kelsey is going to outscore Andrews almost every time, but you never know. You never know. But it's a great little team considering. I mean, Kelsey and Mahomes, Kenneth Walker, London. You have a really good 4 considering you still have Andrews. So I'm impressed with how you filled that out. It's a little light, but by design, because you're going heavy tight end, but it's a little light at wide receiver like 3 and running back 3. But it's a really good team, Collusion. I like that. Feel free to call in if you'd like to discuss it. Carl, you're live. And Ron, if you need anything, just butt in. What's up, Carl?
Hey there. Received a Dynasty trade, and it's an interesting one, and I want to know your philosophy on it. This is a 3 starting wide receiver, so that might have some sway, but I received an offer of Bijan Robinson and Garrett Wilson for my Jamar Chase and Breece Hall. Should I stay put and keep the top dog receiver, or should I, take a little step down to get the top dog running back? What do you think?
I mean, this is tough because Bijan and Garrett Wilson are both like, Bijan and Chase in Dynasty are almost a wash. If it's
okay.
Do I actually?
I personally agree, but I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah, I actually believe that. Yeah.
Trade here.
If I could be honest, I adore Garrett Wilson.
You what?
I adore Garrett Wilson. I would say I like Garrett Wilson way more than Breece, but I want to know your thoughts on it, considering it's a 3-start wide receiver type deal.
I'd lean Bijan and Garrett Wilson. But the question I guess I'd have would be, like, if Hall were guaranteed back to form, would I feel the same way? I don't know. Like, this could be an evolving thing where I say to myself later, man, I wish I didn't trade Jamar Chase away because Hall looks just as good as anybody in the National Football League. But I mean, Garrett Wilson's top 5. So you got number 1 overall running back in Dynasty. You got a top 5 wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. You got the number 1 overall wide receiver in Chase, and you got kind of a question mark top 5 running back. We think he will be. We don't know yet. He's still got to come back. He's got to have no setbacks. There's just question marks here.
My question. That's my opinion, though.
I'm sorry. What, Carl?
I'm saying I would say Breece Hall is number 3 under Gibbs as far as the top 3 running backs dynasty-wise.
Yeah. I just think because Bijan is the no question at all number 1 running back in Dynasty and really redraft in my mind. And because Garrett Wilson can flirt with the top 3, I'm not saying he's 1 to 5 just to be dramatic. I really believe he's top 1 to 5. I think his floor goes to 5, whereas Chase's floor goes to 1 to 2. But there's some overlap there. Like, Garrett Wilson's best year could be better than Chase's worst year because Chase could be 1, 2, maybe 3 if he's playing a full season. And I know that every once in a while, a wide receiver like him could be a number 7 or 5. I'm just saying, in my mind, he's 1, 2. Garrett Wilson's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So because there's overlap at all, give me Bijan. Give me the Bijan side. And he's starting fresh. He's got a brand new career. These guys are brand new. They've just been driven off the lot. You know, you got a lot more time. Not a lot, but it's enough.
I love it. Thank you, because I'm kind of agreeing with that way, but I wanted to get the expert opinion, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Carl. Later.
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah, what's up? I don't know what was going on in the background. It sounded like a dog was getting attacked.
My team from last night.
Yeah, hang tight real quickly. Rock out. Let me just get these out of the way so they're not backed up here. Sam Laporta, and 24th first rounder for Mark Andrews. What do you think about that, Rock out? Sam Laporta and 24th first rounder for Mark Andrews. I mean, it depends where the first rounder is, but let's say it's medium to late, middle. We'll call it middle round. We'll say it's number 5 or number 6 overall. Would you rather have the number 5 2024 first rounder or number 6 with Laporta or Mark Andrews?
Probably Andrews.
Yeah, I think I probably would too, but that's a really interesting trade. And if you're in rebuild mode,
that's not bad though.
Yeah, if you're in rebuild mode, I guess I would consider it, Hunter. I might need a little more information, but I'd say in general, the better players, the better way to go, and Andrews is the better player. And this last one, have a feeling Garrett Wilson and St. Brown will be available in round 1, 2 to the turn, because I picked number 9 in a 10-man league. Yeah, you could very well have both those guys. Possibly Bijan to fall to me. Maybe Bryson. Bryson's drafting in 8 days, he said. He's drafting in a 10-man league. He's really hopeful he gets Bijan and Garrett Wilson. If you get Bijan and Garrett Wilson, I want you to come back and we're going to celebrate. We're going to send you to the moon. We'll send you to the moon anyway.
To the moon.
For you waiting, Bryson. Thank you for dropping that super chat. Okay, Rock out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. My team quarterback Lawrence, Pickett, Tannehill, and then running back JT, Barkley, Walker, Rashawn Johnson, and Vaughn. I got sniped in the 8th round. And then wide receiver Chase, Pickens, Tony, Jameson Williams, Sky Moore, Rashid Rice, Curtis Samuel, Josh Downs, and then tight end Moop and Kincaid.
Yeah, man. So T-Law, JT, Barkley, Walker, Chase. No, this is the one where you got sniped and you didn't get Charbonnet, right? Last night?
Yeah, in the 8th round.
Oh, yeah, you got sniped in the 8th round. So that sucks, but other than that, man, that's really, really, really good. I like it a lot. It's a really good team. Really, really good team. Yeah. Keep trying that combination. I like the combinations of that. Do combinations of it getting, like, try and apply that same, theory and grab different running backs too, not just JT and Barkley. JT and Barkley are like really fun players to own, but I'd love to see some other players in there too. I don't know, but that's a good one. Ron Navy, you got anything else? We've been running around the phone lines.
Yeah, almost got Rock out. Almost got him cured of some, but he let one slip there.
Almost. Pete Carroll, is that you making all that noise?
No.
Delivery.
Oh. Hey, Pete Carroll, you're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't really want anything. I was just calling to let you know that I got Bijan and Chase on the same team in the Superflex.
That's good, bro. Bijan and Chase. Man, I mean, definitely doable in a Superflex more so than another. But like, who are your quarterbacks?
I got Aaron Rodgers, Anthony Richardson.
Jeez.
And then I end up getting Ritter and Baker Mayfield. Baker's. I know he's trash, but I got him just in case.
Yeah. That's Anthony Richardson and Aaron Rodgers with those two running back wide receiver combo is insane. Like you just took advantage of your boys, bro. That you got him.
Got him.
And then I got Garrett Wilson too, man.
You got Garrett Wilson too. Give me a. What are you playing? How many grandmas are in that league, bro? Come on, Garrett Wilson.
Hey man, because everybody was going quarterback tough. So for the first 4, yeah, that was the first
This
4
is why.
rounds,
This is why I told. This is why I told Thomas to try that approach. He didn't get Aaron Rodgers, so in the end, I got disappointed with what he got, but I was still impressed. I'm telling you, when you pass on quarterback in the first and second round in a superflex, and you're in the right league, everybody and their mother stops drafting quarterbacks in rounds 3 and 4. You'll have 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks take it in 24 picks, and then you get back on the clock and you can scoop up more.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened, man. I just started cleaning up. I was like, yeah, all right, man, because everybody took, all the big names in the first 2 rounds. So.
Yeah, it's a risky move, but it's fun. It's fun. You take a risk, you take a little risk, and then you clean up like you did, bro. Nice job, Pete Carroll. Yeah. All right, hang tight if you want to still stay on the line. Just mute if. Oh, he's gone. Let's go over to Salty. Have you talked yet? Actually, Salty, hang 1 second. If Breece stayed.
Yeah, I'm actually going to head out of here, too. I didn't want to just bounce. But
what do you got, Salty? Right, you got anything before you leave?
Shit, honestly, just no, I do. I was wondering, so what do you think, as far as the Giants situation goes, you know how they drafted Jalen Hyatt, how long do you think this year he's taken over that number 1 job? Like, is he going to be the guy over there in New York for Danny Dimes to, build with? Because I just don't like their receiver room at all. And I've got Hyatt in one of my leagues, and I was just wondering, how high we are on him for this year.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know how confident I feel. I don't think anybody can feel ultra confident in it because they haven't come out and shown a bunch of Hyatt love. It's been kind of like we don't know where his role is going to be, and it's like when you hear something like that, like Kincaid, the coaching staff came out and said, we want to use him, we just don't know how it's going to work yet. And it's like you hear those things, and it's so easy to take him in a negative way and be like, oh man, they don't like him, but they're not tipping their hand. Rookies start off slow. Hyatt and Kincaid could both be garbage in your lineup in week 1. So people that are expecting the world out of even Kincaid in week 1 are going to be those lazy Landons and those impatient Ians that drop Kincaid in week 1 and 2. I can tell you right now, some worried Williams calling up my phone line in week 2 going, Smitty, or week 3, I dropped Kincaid. I know you told me not to do it, but I couldn't wait. He wasn't doing anything. I just thought he wasn't going to do anything. He didn't do anything in week 1, Smitty. And so Hyatt could be the same way. Be patient with him. I do believe by midseason he'll be the best wide receiver on the team. I just don't know how long it's going to take.
Do you think Wan'Dale is going to give him any trouble at all in that situation?
He could. I
could. I was higher on Wan'Dale at the end of the last year.
Yeah. I was. He got hurt, and then, I don't know. He doesn't feel like he's in the same positioning, but maybe. He's a good player. I was excited about him. A lot of people are excited about him, but I think Hyatt's a better prospect. I think Wan'Dale looked pretty good at a certain point. We got excited, but Hyatt is a better prospect. There were some that thought Hyatt was the number 2 wide receiver in the entire draft. There are a lot of people that liked Hyatt, and he fell in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
It's crowded, though. It's crowded, but go ahead.
Yeah. But it's crowded with there's no elite guy. There's no true number 1 over there. But what I was wondering as well, in that position, if you're taking in a rookie draft, say Hyatt, that would be going around, I want to say 3rd round in a rookie draft, rookie startup maybe. Are you taking Dell there over him?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to let him fall and take Hyatt first or something and go Dell after?
Play the ADP to your advantage, but don't mess around and get kicked in the nuts because you wanted to try and be greedy. And I say that in the same respect to a best ball draft, redraft. Take him in round 14 if you have to. That's a reach. Mm-hmm. That's fine. He goes in 15 or 16, sometimes 17. And so if you take him in 14, 15, I'm fine with that. You take Dell in 9. We've seen someone take Dell in 9 when we're in a draft. I was like, bro, come on. Like, there's no need.
God.
Yeah, no need for that. I know in our community we're all
It's like me
want.
in the fifth.
Yeah, but like if push came to shove and like Dell is like perking up, on the overall rankings, like the wide receiver rankings, if he's like 10th, I don't think you have a problem. But if Dell's like the 8th guy on the ranking and you're like 12 spots away, like you got to do it. If he's really far down, then you could play the game, but you got to ask yourself, like, in a dynasty, can you live every day of the rest of your life watching Dell on another roster? But I love both of them.
So in that situation, are you taking Michael Wilson over Hyatt with Dell?
Hey, Russian, as soon as we added you, we got a huge reverb there, Russian, if you could mute real quick. Something's going on with Russian's line. We got collusion going on the phone line. What was the question?
Are you taking Michael Wilson and Tank Dell over Jalen Hyatt and Tank Dell in a dynasty rookie startup?
No, Michael Wilson should be going a lot later. Like he is undrafted in best ball drafts. So I'm not saying dynasty and best ball are the same thing, but they do kind of tell a story because we don't have a lot of good dynasty ADP data. But Wilson's a lot further from Dell and redraft, a lot further from Hyatt. But he's climbing. He's climbing a lot. People do like him.
Yeah. That's why I noticed. That's why I'm asking, because honestly, we just did this draft and I took these guys, like I said at the beginning, and I passed on Michael Wilson in that situation. I ended up with Dell and Hyatt. So I'm happy with what I did here. I do got to bounce though. Thanks for everything, bro.
All right, man.
Probably calling tomorrow.
All right, later. Appreciate you.
A
Isaac's.
lot of people like taking Wilson as a bring back to their Philly team for the Week 17 correlation. That's the big push on Wilson right now.
Yeah. If Breece had stayed healthy and continued at the pace he was on last year, we would still have Bijan over him last year. Probably, maybe not. You know what? That's a great question. No, I don't. I think it'd be really close. I think we'd see a divide. If Breece Hall had not got hurt, he would have been, in my opinion, everyone's number one running back all offseason long, and then Bijan would have kind of came into the fold. And I think Breece Hall would have been one. I think if Breece Hall had stayed healthy, he would have had such a big year. He would have been 1 overall. He would have been 1 overall over Chase and JJ. Had he stayed healthy. Keep in mind, he was on a tear, and in his final game when he got hurt Week 7, I believe he had 3 carries for like 70 yards and a touchdown. 3 carries for 70 and a touchdown. He had I think a 100-yard receiving game the week before that. Breece was looking in pristine condition and form. But we'll never know. But it's a great question, Isaac. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I think we'd be at least, close on that. Collusion, what's up, my guy?
Not much. Can you hear me, or is there still reverb?
That's better.
Okay.
No, now it's back. What you got going on there?
Nothing really.
No, I mean, like, what's going on with the echo? Like, we're hearing the whole show. Just repeat it back, or me. What you got? Something? Speaker or?
No, let me call back in.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds like he's got show on the back.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got something going on there. Bryson with the $2 hauler says teams you staying away from, like Cardinals wide receivers. Like I said at the top of the show, Bryson, I'm not touching Cardinal players, I'm not touching Tennessee Titan players, and I'm not touching Las Vegas Raider players. I'll take Wilson in a dynasty. I'll take Okonkwo at tight end in a redraft or dynasty. But that's it. It's Okonkwo. Yeah, Russian, I don't know what's going on.
Same?
Yeah, do you have like anything in the background? A show anywhere?
No,
Am I on speaker?
No. Yeah,
Try turning off. Shut your phone off and reboot your phone.
Try turning speaker on real quick.
Is that better?
I don't know. I have to talk because no, it's me that we hear. Okay, that's better.
Okay. All right. What's going on, everybody? So I wanted to give another prediction for the board. If you want to write it down.
I'm going to it. All right, go ahead, Collusion.
I believe, and I'm not a New York Jets fan at all, I'm a Cowboys fan. You guys probably know that. And I think the Jets are going to win the AFC East. And this is not far-fetched, I don't believe, because I think they were pretty good last year. They will have the number one defense.
I agree with that. Okay, 6-14, collusion. Jets win division and number one defense. Okay, on the board. I like it. And I agree with that. I think that, like I've said about the Jets defense, you play against Aaron Rodgers every day in practice, you're going to get better. And Sauce Gardner is going to get better. This entire defense is going to get better. You have a better offense on the field, moving the chains, keeping your defense fresh and not on the field 24/7. And on top of that, like the defense puts the offense in good field position, the offense will put the defense in good field position. You know, they'll march all the way down the field, and then maybe they do punt, and the defense is going to have the opponent on the 4-yard line get a safety or just cause turnovers and madness going on. So the Jets will be, in my opinion, the number one defense in the National Football League in 2023 because of all those reasons that are related to Aaron Rodgers and the offense being improved. So I agree with you, Collusion, 100% on that. I also think there was a better chance if Diggs was going to drag out the situation that the Jets could have won the division. And I still think they can. Buffalo, you know, is definitely a little bit of a wild card in the concern, you know, column. I think that there's still some opportunity for the Miami Dolphins to maybe be a division winner. The Buffalo Bills certainly have, I think, the edge. But I think the Jets are going to be so fun to watch. And this might be a team that everybody thinks, okay, they're good, we'll see. And then 4 weeks into the year, everybody's like, the Jets are the team to beat. Like, it could really be one or the other. I don't know that we'll have anything in between. I think it's going to be, they're either going to flop or they're going to explode. You know?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Let's not forget, they got the major jinx too, right? Madden, they're on the cover of Madden. Major jinx. Buffalo,
yeah. Josh Allen on the cover of Madden. I mean, maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I think that curse has been broken, but it still feels like it's dangerous. You know, it still feels a little dangerous. Like there's some accuracy to it. But keep in mind, we all thought the Broncos and the Raiders, or not all of us, but fantasy football in general thought the Broncos and the Raiders were both going to be very, very good in the division. That division was going to be insane and the toughest division of football. And look how bad the Raiders were. Look how bad the Denver Broncos were. So we got to keep an open mind that anything's possible with this Jets situation. You know, if Aaron Rodgers got hurt or something, they would just, you know, what would happen? Who knows? But I do believe you might be onto something here, and I think the Jets winning the division is not far-fetched at all. And these Jets are the Jets haters out there. They sound a lot like the Chicago Bear haters. They don't really realize what's happening. Something's changing in both of those, you know, organizations. Like, it's not the same. Good prediction, Collusion.
And then this isn't part of my prediction, but I got the number one and the number two defense. And it's the Jets, and then the Cowboys are going to be number two. San Fran's out of the picture.
Wait. Say, we're adding to this prediction?
No. I'm just saying that I got the number one and number two, and Dallas with his number two defense. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen, my man. I mean, explain your thinking.
Well, I mean, you know, first of all, you know, Parson, he's a wrecking ball anyways. They finally got somebody that can stop the run, you know, in the rookie they drafted this year. And just overall, I mean, what were they? They were fourth last year, I think it was.
They're good. They're good D, man. They're a good turnover unit too. They just create turnovers.
You got Diggs' brother in the backfield, right? So as long as he don't become a diva, because his brother is, we'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, hey, can we get Vampy to call in? I want to see how Vampy's doing. I know he was talking in the chat, but I can't necessarily catch up with some of that. He's been doing better, he said, day to day. Man, Vampy, call in. We still got an echo collision. It's fainter, but I don't know what's going on. But maybe just mute until you talk. It's not so bad when you're talking. It's when I'm talking. So if you could just mute.
That's a shuttle to Mars.
Yeah, you're too far away. The delay between you and Mars is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm already on the Mars band. So I got one more thing. If we do a Uranus thing, and I know that's up to, you and whatever we're gonna do. However you're gonna talk to the Mars men and the Moon men. Sway's got to be on that list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's your number one fan.
That's true. We got to give one out to Sway. Sway's got to be in the. We got to let Sway draft the team too, like point to the players. We got to figure it out. Which Jets running back would be the cuff behind Breece? That's tough. I mean that. I don't know. I think who the cuff is now might not be the cuff later. You know what I mean? Because I think that Abba can't. What's his name? Abba. How do you say his name again? Abanikanda. Abanikanda is a really good running back, and I think eventually he does take over the backup role. But if like something happened immediately, Michael Carter might be the guy that they shove in there. And also, Michael Carter would be the guy that's there on third downs where Abanikanda isn't in there. So let's say Hall. God, I don't even like talking about this. Let's say Hall just went on a hike and went missing for a week, but came back and he was perfectly fine. If he had been out of a game for whatever reason, you would think, oh, Michael Carter's going to get in there because he's in there on third down sometimes or whatever. But that doesn't always mean that if the starter went down, that third down guy goes in. It could be Abanikanda. Abanikanda is good. He's tough. He's a big guy, strong. I think.
But he plays small. The problem with him, Smitty, is, and if anybody watches him, and he's from Pitt, but that doesn't mean nothing. He's fast and he can score immediately, but he's not good with contact. As soon as he gets hit, he's down.
I've seen some of that. I've seen some of that, but I did see other plays where I felt like he did do really well with contact. So I think maybe a mixed bag on his tape, but certainly potential. Potential to change that, the potential to learn, get stronger.
That's what you just watch out with him, though. Yeah. I just wanted to bring that up.
If Bijan falls,
because I was big on him, and I saw that.
Yeah, if Bijan falls to me in the first, Wilson, St. Brown for the next pick. I mean, Wilson's the higher ranked guy, but you can't go wrong with either. But I would definitely go Bijan and Wilson. But Bijan and St. Brown would be fantastic. I mean, we even love Olave that much, but you can get Olave in the third round in this Grandma League, I venture to say. Try and get Olave in the third round. You probably won't because you got that tight first and second round pick, so you've got a very, very late third rounder. But you never know, bro. These people are crazy with Olave. ESPN.
Vamp calling in?
Not yet. Vampy, call in if you can. If you can't, that's okay. I think Rock Out dropped off. Rock Out, appreciate you, by the way. I do. Rock Out, are you there? No, he's gone. I don't know where Rock Out went. Should I drop Isaiah Likely to get Michael Wilson? Got Andrews as well. If it's a dynasty league, probably. But I do like Likely, but I don't know that he's very likely to get in there yet.
Too. So if something happens to Andrews, Likely could go off.
Yeah, you could monitor him for a while though. I don't know if anybody's grabbing him or not. I do like Wilson a little more prospect wise, but Blackbeard says 180 of you in here, only 92 thumbs up. Hit that thumb up button. Appreciate that. Prince is getting a lot of hype in KC. Yeah, he's an interesting player to monitor. But McKinnon and Pacheco are clearly ahead of him, so he's a guy you go after immediately and will be, I guarantee you, at some point during the year, he'll be on our waiver wire ad drop list. In fact, I might do I did this last year, and nobody does this, so I'm going to do it. again this year. It's going to be a staple. We're doing an early waiver wire show. We're going to do an early waiver wire show. Once we get into August, I'm going to do a weekly waiver wire show as if the season's ongoing. And just be like, guys, this is who you pick up in your league right now. Are they sitting out on waivers? Nobody does that. We're doing that, and we did it last year. So, like, Prince will be a guy we'll talk about. You know, Charlie Jones will be the kind of guys we talk about. Like, hey, are these guys available in your league? Sam Howell, I know he's not going to be available in a lot of leagues, but in some leagues people won't have drafted him or want him. So we'll talk about that as well. So waiver wire show will be here in August, so get ready for it. And then it's going to be every Sunday evening. Kincaid to the moon. PFF predicts red zone target, predicts main red zone target. Absolutely. I mean, Kincaid is so excited for Kincaid. That's why we've got this right here. Get Kincaided. Ozzy dropping a $2 holler says, can we hear the Herbert? We'll punch you in the throat. Absolutely.
Herbert is the go. He'll punch you in the throat. Herbert is the go. He'll punch you in the throat.
And just to be absolutely clear for all my people getting upset about my Herbert ranking being number 7 / whatever, I don't change my mind. I don't apologize for T-Law Fields being in my 5 and 6 spot. I love Herbert. I love Herbert. You guys, I had him super high last year, but he disappointed until he. Yeah, just earn back the respect. That's all I'm saying. No one's predicting he's a bust. Nobody's saying stay away from Herbert. I'm just saying, how can I not put Fields and T-Law in my 5 and 6 spot? It's just, they're both amazing. They're both so top 5 capable, and Herbert could get there. He could get there again. But it seems like there's a lot of people just acting like last year should just be ignored. And I don't really understand why there are so many that are so pro Herbert at the expense of Fields or T-Law. Like, I could understand somebody saying, hey, Smitty, I love Herbert later. I love T-Law and Fields like you. They're my 5 and 6. And nobody has to have the same ranking. I'm not saying that. But it's crazy the amount of Herbert should be there. If you say that, if Herbert should be in my top 5 or at least top 6, who are you taking out? Because you have to throw it out there. You're saying on record what? That you don't believe in T-Law or you don't believe in Fields? It probably is Fields more than T-Law because a lot of people doubt Fields. But, put it out there. Put it out there. I'm not saying I don't like Herbert at all. He's just not above Fields or T-Law. I'm just not doing it. DFF Superflex need to drop one Dak, Love, Ritter, Purdy. Dak, Love, Ritter, or Purdy. I'm dropping probably Ritter. However, if you need like production now, which I don't, Dak and Love are playing, like you're running the risk of having somebody that's not on the field yet. But Kittle said yesterday that he firmly believes that Purdy is, he like when asked, hey Kittle, who's your starter? Is Purdy your starter? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, you don't play the way he played 8 games and not be the starter. And I'm not saying Kittle's the coach, but the coaching staff's made it very clear too that he's earned the locker room's trust. He's earned the coaching staff's trust. He's earned the job. And then Kittle was asked, and he's not the doctor. He's not the coach. He's not the doctor. He's not the trainer. He's not any of these things, but asked, how is he looking? Is he ready for week 1? He goes, oh yeah, he's ready. He's looking great. He said, I've only seen him throw a couple times, but he looks like he's throwing great. He's like, I expect him to be there in week 1. So the odds are right now, if I had to guess, that Shanahan and everybody's rushing him along and he's going to be there in week 1. I worry about re-injury, but Purdy is in the better, the potential, I don't want to say better offense because I love what Atlanta's going to bring to the table on the ground, but maybe he's in a better potential situation to pass. But who knows? I mean, honestly, Ritter could be better than Purdy. Really, he could. But if I had to pick, I'd probably say Ritter's got no trade value right now at all. Purdy's got a lot of trade value to some people, so that would be part of my reasoning. But it's arguable. It's not something that I think is clear cut. All right, whose dog's going crazy in the background? Is that Scott?
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No.
that's right, Ron. I was just asking. Scott, you're live.
Hey, Smeg, what's going on, bro?
Not much, bro.
I got a question. I'm up here in 5 picks in a redraft, on a slow redraft on Data Force, and I think it's possible that, if Olave lasts, awesome, that's a smash. But if he doesn't, I may be down to having to choose between Metcalf and Devontae Smith. Now, Metcalf only had 6 touchdowns last year, which is atypical of him. Which one do you take?
So this is interesting. You're asking this because we had a big, long conversation about it last night.
I didn't come on late last
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you can try and find it, but we had a 3-hour show, so I don't know how you're going to find it anyway. But
I saw the 3-hour show. I didn't put it on.
Okay, Olave is clearly the number one of these three. He is so good. I would take him at 14 overall, and I don't care who laughs at me. I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying I would. I would take him at 13 overall. And then I would say at this point, as much as I like DK, as much as I think DK's a very, very good wide receiver, he's always kind of a 10 touchdown threat. His situation is going to get a little cloudy because JSN's a very good player. He's going to play in the slot. He's going to get a whole bunch of receptions. And so I can't imagine DK's season I can't see him getting better. There's not a lot of upside for him to get better in fantasy. Whereas Devontae Smith, I mean, that was his breakout year. He was like number 8 or number 9, depending on your scoring. That's a top 10 wide receiver when A.J. Brown's a top, 6, 7 wide receiver in front of him. And A.J. Brown struggles a lot with knee issues. He has knee surgeries. He's had more than one knee surgery. His knees are always a concern to me. And A.J. Brown also lives off of high efficiency. And the day he doesn't, deliver on high efficiency on low targets, because I mean it's when you look at his numbers, it's absolutely head scratching crazy that AJ Brown does what he does with the low volume. And we thought maybe that would change going to Philly. It didn't, but his high efficiency didn't change either. He's ultra efficient. How many catches do you normally pull in when you have a 1,500 yard season? Would you say, Scott?
Well, that's at least, it's triple digits for sure.
Yeah, triple digits, right? Triple digits.
110, 115.
Yeah, and for A.J. Brown to get 1,500 yards last year and have 88 receptions is crazy.
Well, he's crazy talented.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from A.J. Brown. I love him.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is he's not a volume like hog to the point where there's not enough room in this Jalen Hurts passing attack where he's going to get better and throw more. Jalen Hurts is one of the most capable 400-yard passers in the National Football League. I think he's so capable of having one of those monster 400-yard games. I just think Devontae Smith, his numbers probably get better, and his opportunity for being the lone starter in the Eagles system for 5 games in a season, 6 games in a season is not a very, very big stretch because A.J. Brown's knee issues. So long story short, give me Devontae Smith, especially in a dynasty, with Geno Smith being the quarterback who is very underrated, and I know he'll do well in 2023. It's just not the same. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' offense and passing attack and all the touchdown opportunities for Philly living in the red zone far outweighs DK Metcalf's timeshare situation led by a very underrated Geno Smith, but he's Geno Smith.
Okay. All right.
But that's me. That's me.
Okay. All right. Because I've been hammering after the first 2 picks. I went in and started hammering mock drafts with the 2 because I had the number 9 overall. I got Bijan and Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
And so nice start. And all the mocks show that I can get Justin Fields in the 4th, and I mocked it out with Fields in the 4th and Lawrence in the 6th. But that Fields in the 4th, those teams consistently came out better. So I think that's what my target is right now for these next 2 picks. So anyway, especially since I can get Akers in the 5th and Dalvin Cook in the 6th. So
I got you.
And then the whole Deontay Johnson dropping. I mean, it looks like he's moving to the 7th round, and a guy that had 147 targets last year, I'll grab him all day long in the 7th round as my 3rd receiver, and then hopefully pair him up with a Treylon Burks.
I got you.
Or Darius Toney. So.
Yep.
But anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, man.
I was just I was going back and forth between those 2. If Olave doesn't last the next 5 picks, and
yep, hopefully you get him.
I couldn't.
Hopefully
right,
you get. Don't be afraid of Diggs too. A little early. I'm just saying. I like Diggs. I'm sorry. Don't be afraid of Gibbs early. I like Gibbs more than I like Devontae Smith. I'm just saying.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It just I locked it out. The value of Devontae Smith or DK in that 3rd round, when I can add Akers as my second back in the 5th, boy, it versus the receiver I've been getting in the 5th, it just seems like a better combination that way.
It's not. It's not. No. Not in my mind.
Really? So you?
I don't touch Akers in round 5. That's so early for Akers. I wouldn't touch Akers in round 5. You'll probably get in your league. You'll probably see London or Watson or some amazing wide receiver in round 5. I'm taking Gibbs all day long. Don't draft positions, pal. Draft players. Draft the best player on the board. And I'm telling you right now, Devontae Smith and DK, as much as I love them, they're not the best player on the board. Where you're talking, they're not.
All right.
You can get a Dotson. You can get a Dotson later. You can get a Kadarius Toney, a Dotson, a George Pickens, probably someone. Devontae Smith, DK are being forced in that situation, in my opinion. But Scott, trust your gut. Call back when you got a little bit more ideas on what you might do, and then we'll kick it around.
Take care.
Later. Spacula says, sent you an offer in the Sniping Sons of Bitches League. Let me go find that. We have a league that I started a while ago, and I don't see an offer there. Incoming, reject. I don't see it, Spacula. I'm looking for it right now. I do not see an offer from you in the SOB league. I don't see it. Put it on screen here, and let's work the trade out. Okay, let's go on over to interrupting Ian. Thank you for not interrupting, Ian. What can I do for you? You're live.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? Thanks for the nickname. I'm trying to own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get your argument for Herbert, but you got to remember, like last year, Game 3, like he broke like all his ribs in that Chiefs game.
Mahomes played through his injured ankle, won a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts injured his shoulder, played through it, did amazingly. I'm not trying to say that Herbert's not tough. I'm not trying to say Herbert did, but all these quarterbacks, Fields was playing hurt. All these quarterbacks had problems. Like, again, I'm not trashing Herbert at all. I love Herbert. He's an amazing quarterback with an amazing arm, and I hope he rebounds. It's just, why is he getting Why is he getting anointed 5 or 6 quarterback territory when you have Fields who just exploded without any sort of wide receiver help whatsoever, and they're revamping that team in a tremendous fashion, and he's got DJ Moore to stretch the field now. Like, why on earth would I be drafting Herbert over Fields when Fields proved it? Fields was so good. And so if you're like, okay, that's fine, I don't mind that, then, I mean, T-Law, it's not all it is me liking T-Law over Herbert, like by like one spot. Like, I don't understand. It's such a big like sticking point for people. They just can't let go of it. Like, who cares? I have T-Law and Fields over Herbert, and for some reason the Dynasty Herbert owners just can't handle it. They don't understand how, when it's super debatable. You can't sit here. Nobody can sit here and give me a good argument that it's not at least debatable. I'll let you debate it, and I will say, yeah, I can understand you liking Herbert more than Fields and T-Law. I've said that 1,000 times. But no one in here, not a single person, can dial up this phone line right now and tell me why it's wrong, why it's not debatable. It's certainly debatable. Like, that's the only thing I don't get. I don't get how people aren't letting go of this, and they don't see how it's possible. They don't see how it's possible at all. Fields could be the number 3 to number 1 quarterback in the National Football League in 2023. Fields could literally be QB1 in fantasy. He has that kind of running ability. And T-Law, yeah, him and Herbert both have question marks, which is why it's debatable. But the Fields one isn't, in my mind. But it, someone tell me how it's not debatable.
I'll tell you. Because Herbert set the NFL rookie passing yards and Fields didn't. Those other quarterbacks did, but Fields did. I mean, Herbert did.
But Ron, it's still debatable. What you're saying makes sense. What you're saying is what I just said, that it's 100% arguable on both sides. But what I'm saying is no one can come in here and tell me that it's not debatable. That's what I'm saying. I understand anybody liking Herbert's first 3 years, doing what he did, breaking records for having the most passing yards, but then you can say, well, Fields has the rushing upside in fantasy football to overcome that little, feat. And
but
so
he doesn't have the record.
You go back and forth. Record doesn't matter.
He doesn't have the record. Yes, it does. Records matter.
Not in fantasy.
Records aren't debatable.
Records? What do you mean? You mean the record of the passing record?
Yeah, they're not. That's not debatable.
Yeah, but Ron, there's two pieces to Fields' game. You can't just say, "Oh, he's had the better passing numbers. He's better." There's touchdowns. There's rushing. There's everything. Fields. What you're saying, Ron, and I agree with you that it's arguable.
It's throwing more yardage, maybe not as rushed as much, but that was only 1 year that he that Fields was rushed.
Which makes it arguable. Like, Herbert has an argument to be made. Of course, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying.
Better quarterback.
But what I'm saying is, no one has.
Better quarterback.
It's totally debatable, Ron. It's totally debatable.
It's not debatable.
Yes, it is.
Fields hasn't even been to the playoffs yet.
Doesn't matter.
Hasn't done anything yet, really. You're just looking at his upside. His upside's great. Yes, I agree, but he's not a better quarterback than Herbert at this point right now. No, he's not. Herbert's the better quarterback. It's not debatable.
Okay, it is debatable. It's 100% debatable. 100%. Is it capable? Is Herbert capable of being better? Absolutely, but so is Fields. Fields
Herbert
could be.
Is better.
That's your opinion, Ron. It's debatable.
That's not.
It is debatable, Ron.
You know that Herbert is better.
Ron, we're playing fantasy football, Ron. Ron, we're playing fantasy football.
Let yourself be honest of how you truly feel. You know Herbert's the better quarterback.
Ron,
at this
we're
point
playing fantasy football.
I know we are.
So what are you talking about? He is the better quarterback? You're talking about if you were drafting a team right now to be your quarterback. We're talking about fantasy football quarterback.
Yeah. Herbert's still the better quarterback.
Okay, that's your opinion. That's not fact. That's debatable, which is what I'm saying. It is debatable. It's 100% debatable. That's why we play the game, Ron. Ron, it's why we play the game. He's not better. It's debatable.
Okay, I did my best.
You tried.
So why don't we look at the stats for even just last year? I think Lawrence ended up as quarterback number 8, and I think Herbert ended up as number 11, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the scoring, but for anybody this is what my whole point is. For anybody to say it's not debatable is the problem with the argument. Not saying that you can't have Herbert ranked higher or come in and say, I truly believe Herbert will bounce back, have a magnificent season, and in fantasy football outscore Fields. That is a totally acceptable argument. But what I'm saying is all of the pushback on you can't have... Yeah, Ron did a good job. Everybody give Ron a round of applause for trying. Ron is hard to go up against, I will say. Ron is like a bull. But what I'm saying is... Yeah, what I'm saying is what I don't think people are grasping, because I'm probably saying it poorly, so it's probably my fault, is that it's not something that should have people shocked. Like, it's something they're like, oh, you like Fields over Herbert? Cool. How in the hell are we in a place where someone can actually say with a straight face that you can't like one over the other? This is fantasy football. This is not talking NFL football where who do you want your player, who's going to take you to a Super Bowl? If you got the perfect build right here, you throw Herbert on the squad. I get all the things Herbert comes with as a football player. But in fantasy football, I truly believe Fields could be number 2, number 1 on constant occasions all season long. I'm not saying Herbert doesn't have the upside for that, but with what Collusion just said, Herbert just failed us, and he failed me. Admittedly, he failed me. I had him bouncing around between 1 and 3 all offseason long, admittedly. And so until he earns my respect back, he's not getting a top 5, top 6 quarterback spot. But that doesn't mean I don't like him. Doesn't mean I don't have this little number queued up all the time.
Herbert is the go. He'll punch you in the throat. Herbert is the go.
He's a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback. And eventually, it's not a matter, as I said in my video, my top 6 quarterback video, it's not a matter of if, it's when does he rebound back into the mix of being in my top rotation of, okay, I kind of like him 4. I don't know who to take here. Because I don't know who to take between Fields and Law. T-Law and Fields I love almost equally, but those are my clear 5 and 6 quarterbacks. And that's me. That's me. I understand anybody else having Herbert higher. My whole point is, it's not something you can be shocked at and say, how in the hell do you do that? Because I can't be that way. I can't be that way about you having Herbert 4. If anybody had Herbert 4, that is an understandable argument I just disagree with, but it's totally understandable. Isaac Super Chatting wants to know if Ron likes Pickett over Fields.
Well, Pickett hasn't had a chance to. I mean, come the season, I think Pickett has a better season. That's just my opinion. But right now, I can't say Pickett's better than Fields because Pickett hasn't proven it totally yet.
Wow, we got to do a little bet on that one, Ron.
Take Fields over Pickett.
We got to do a little one on that. What can we do on that? Fields versus Pickett. I'd take that one. Let's do a challenge on that one.
Do a challenge.
Yeah, let's do a challenge. Pickett versus Fields.
Smitty, you'd have to give Pickett 10 touchdowns.
No. I'm not giving him anything. He said better, and I want to do a challenge on it. We could do something small.
No, I say better. I said, you didn't hear what I said. I said at this point, I put Fields over Pickett.
No,
Pickett hasn't
prove himself yet.
You just said, I thought, I don't know if I heard you wrong. You just said you think at the end you think Pickett will be better.
I think Pickett will end up being better.
Okay.
But he hasn't proven it yet, so I got to put Fields over Pickett at this time. That's what I
Okay.
said.
Okay. So you're saying you think he'll be better, but you're not willing. Okay. I thought you were saying it in a stance that you were willing to say he's going to be better.
Pickett has to prove.
But if you're saying you think he'll be, but if you're saying you'll think he'll be better, that's essentially saying you're predicting he'll be better. Saying I think he'll be better.
I think he'll be quarterback than Fields. When it's all said and done, I think he'll be the better quarterback.
That sounds like a challenge-worthy statement, though, is what I'm trying to. Okay.
But as of right now, in fantasy, I'm taking Fields is way up there. I mean, Pickett's way down. So, I'm taking Fields up top, and I'll take Pickett down. So, there you go. Value.
All right. I can't wait for Fields to prove so many people wrong.
I mean, Pickett can run, but he's not a runner like Fields is.
Right.
So,
for sure.
Fields,
That's correct. That's a correct answer, Ron.
Yeah, but wait. Don't forget about the famous why they changed the rules in college because of Pickett's mind where he faked slid, gave himself up, and then ran for the touchdown. See, Pickett's smart. He's got the smarts.
Okay. Anyway.
Next subject.
Yeah. Okay. Bama, you're live. Where have you been?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Where you been, Bama? We haven't seen you in a little bit.
Hey, Bama.
Man, I've been working like a dog.
What can I do for you, Bama?
Hey, I'm just now jumping on a few minutes ago. I've been listening to y'all. I'm on the Fields train, but anyway. Have y'all talked about Dawson Knox injury?
No, we haven't talked about Dawson Knox yet today. Let me pull that up and put on screen. Let's see here.
I tried to find something on it earlier, and I can't find anything.
Yeah,
what the injury was.
Yeah, I don't know if some of these injuries right now are not a big deal. Like Aaron Rodgers had a calf issue. He's out there right now. It's not a big deal. There's a lot of precautionary stuff that happens, but I don't see anything. I mean, I heard rumblings of was he banged up or something. People have been talking Kincaid up a little bit today, I think, in relation to that, but I haven't heard anything. There's nothing really even being reported on it. Let me hit Twitter real quick and see if I can find anything else on it real quickly while we're on the phone here. Carson Wentz has been spending time in Tampa, throwing and studying film with former NFL coach John Gruden. Wentz wants and intends to play this season. I think the Raiders are going to be the most likely spot. Spacula, you said you sent me a trade offer. I went to that league and it wasn't there. Pickett runs a 4.7 540. Smiling emoji says Spacula. Throw in a super chat at Ron. Okay, let me see if I could find. So Diggs, there's this video of Diggs working out, which is awesome. Diggs is there. That's good for the Bills. Kirk Cousins is not expecting contract talks with the Minnesota Vikings until March when he's scheduled to become a free agent. We'll see what happens with that. There's concern for me when someone says, what, Ron?
Kirk Cousins always gets the bag. You notice that? I mean, he always gets big money.
He has been. This season will be vital for him. If he plays bad at all, it's going to be the one time he doesn't walk away and gets a big deal. But this is interesting because people ask me, do I like Chase or JJ more in Dynasty, and how can I like Chase more? It's like we don't know who's throwing the football to Justin Jefferson 1 year from today. And I'm not saying it won't work out, but there's concern. There's concern. Why will we not have concern when we have no idea who's going to be throwing the football? Flowers reached an agreement on his 4-year deal. Another reason I'm a little down on Flowers is he's just getting signed. So a little bit behind he might be. Stefon Diggs is back. DeAndre Hopkins with the Patriots, waiting until training camp to sign anywhere makes sense for all sides, says Ian Rappaport. Saquon Barkley including, let's see here, all eyes are on Barkley's not ruling out skipping 2023 season with no long-term contract. This is new from Rappaport. I don't know if Barkley said something additional or if Ian Rappaport's kind of summarizing what we've already talked about a ton, but this is kind of big news. Almost worthy of its own live stream is that Ian Rappaport is saying that Barkley is not ruling out sitting out the entire 2023 season. I don't think he does, but that's the first time that strong of language has been used by Rappaport about it. It's been lately. He said it's only July or only June. It's only June, guys. It's only June. Rappaport's been saying that. So that's the first time he's come out with such a strong, way of looking at it. But that's crazy. I don't think he sits out the entire season, but you never know. We didn't think Lev Bell would do it. We didn't think Ridley would step away from football for mental health reasons. Like things happen all the time that are shocking. Did anybody see Aaron Hernandez being a white shirt being put on him with handcuffs and being walked out of his house and never playing football again? Like there's always going to be things that shock us, So would it shock me if Barkley stood his ground somehow and did something that no one else is willing to do? Yeah, it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
Here's what these RBs. I mean, these RBs aren't happy right now, and the fact that is it a coincidence that all the top running backs from last year? I mean, you could talk about Jacob and Barkley, and all the top running backs got franchise tags put on them, and they're saying it's a way to keep them in the market, the lower paying market, and they're not getting a fair shot at money.
Yeah, we'll see.
Which they're not.
We'll see. Ethan says, what's the Diggs rumor? The Diggs stuff was all yesterday. Diggs is back. He's unhappy, and they were wondering if he'd be back. Jake, you're wrong on that, says Travis. Did Flowers not show up to OTAs? They just signed him, so he wasn't under contract. Same thing with Barkley. Barkley's not showing up to OTAs. Barkley's not subject to fines. Barkley is not under contract. Zay Flowers was not under contract. Zay Flowers just inked his deal.
Hey, buddy, I just sent you something on Instagram on Knox.
Yeah, Knox. I'm not big on Knox. I don't think anybody that thinks Knox is going to have this big season, things only can get worse for Knox. Knox's value does not.
I was just wondering about Knox because of would it help Kincaid's
yeah.
If he got hurt.
Yeah, and I'm merely.
Knox had a good year though. At the end, I mean, when he actually started, because he lost his brother last year. So I mean, but towards the end of the year, he was having really good. He was one of the top tight ends at the end of the year.
Yeah, unfortunately,
got a lot of.
Unfortunately, his target share is not going to be there because he'll be asked to block a lot. But Knox doesn't practice Wednesday. Lower leg, didn't participate in Wednesday's practice. He'd be a good cuff to Kincaid if you wanted to go that route and have a third tight end in best ball or something. But I can't draft Knox in fantasy football knowing that Kincaid's there to potentially be, the best tight end option there. But the thing is, could they coexist a little bit? Sure, because Kincaid will be in the slot, Knox will be blocking. Could he run a delayed route, catch a football once in a while? Sure, but he definitely will be on more blocking assignments than ever. So it's not like his value is going to increase. But could he be? Let's say Kincaid comes along slowly. Kincaid doesn't work out. There's still potential, but I certainly wouldn't draft Knox expecting him to somehow survive with Kincaid getting massive target share.
Even at his value, I mean, look, you can get him pretty much for free.
I mean,
you got to
maybe. I mean, I can understand it, but when you got Jelani Woods, you got Cole Kmet, you got even Okonkwo is going so late. I just think there's too many avenues to go down. I don't know that I'm ever going to... Even Luke Musgrave I'd rather have than Knox. And Luke Musgrave probably will go undrafted in a lot of drafts. So if the tight end pool wasn't ultra deep this year, maybe Knox would still have a place in my heart, Ron, but I just can't draft him. I've drafted him in 0 best ball drafts because I at least get Musgrave. I get Laporta. In a lot of grandma leagues, no one's even drafting Laporta to start. Like, you could get Laporta as your backup. You what?
I think you gotta have at least a few shares of him in best ball. I think it's a good idea to have him in as a few shares because him and Kincaid are 2 different tight ends. Obviously, you just said so. I mean, they're going to use Kincaid in the slot and all that, but Knox is he's still going to be used how they've always used.
Maybe he breaks off a couple, blocking assignments, catches 4 touchdowns. It's possible. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the tight end pool is so deep that I'm not going to mess around with that when I can get Laporta as my backup tight end. And in redraft, I'm not drafting 3 tight ends. I'm drafting 2 of maybe 2. Maybe.
I mean, they got a lot of upside, Laporta, but they haven't played yet. I mean, we don't know how they're going to do it. Everybody knows tight ends, their first year, they don't do as great usually as you think they might.
Yeah. Those guys
Hey,
are...
Smitty, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not really.
Are you and Ron some kind of in relationship or anything? 'Cause y'all argue over everything.
No, Ron argues with me. Ron's very contrarian lately. And no matter what I say, he'll find a way to come in and argue the other point. I could say Knox is going to be a monster, and I think Ron would have probably said, Kincaid, he's coming. Like,
We agree.
We agree on a lot. But yeah, I don't know.
The stuff we have little disagreements on is minute and really irrelevant in the big scheme of things.
Right, but yeah, I think Ron does have a tough time sometimes with me having a strong opinion. Because
you could say Cousins is going to have the best year of his career, and I think Ron would argue it.
I think he'd have a problem with it.
No, I'd have a party. I'd be jumping up and down. I'd have a party. It'd be like it's a miracle.
I think Ron would figure out a way to get upset about it. The other thing too, I think Ron forgets though. Ron, just being honest, you forget that when you have a show like this, I'm going to have a strong, direct opinion, and sometimes I'm going to make a determination on a player, or like in the case of Hurts, and it's like that's just going to be that's just going to be where I believe things will go, and I think sometimes I know, and it's good to have the arguments and the contrarian takes sometimes, but I think lately sometimes it's bothered you that I don't feel the same way. Whereas in the past, you're like, yeah, okay, well, I disagree with that. Now it's like, if it's not Ron's way, like with the Steelers.
No, that's not true. I'm just giving my opinion right back, and it counters what you're thinking sometimes.
Maybe. I do think... Okay, go ahead.
I think I come out. I think I defend my position just as well as you do.
Yeah.
We just don't see it the same all the time.
And we're not going to always see it the same. We're not going to. That's just the way life is. Bama, what else you got?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just sitting here listening to y'all while I'm doing a draft on Underdog. So.
Attaboy. Underdog Fantasy.
Chilling out, relaxing.
Promo code Smitty, everybody. Get up to $100 in your first deposit. Use promo code Smitty. This is what we use to draft. If you want to get in a draft with me, click this link. I'm dropping it in the live chat right now. Click that link. Get into the Underdog drafts with us. You have to be signed up on Underdog. It's a minimum of $10. It's a measly $10. They'll match whatever you deposit the very first time. And so I urge you to consider maybe more than $10 because they'll give you double, up to $100. So jump in.
Draft so late.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. I did an Instagram one the other day, and it was really cool. But I'll do a couple. I'll do like once a week during the day or something. I'll try my best.
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. I got to be in bed.
Yeah.
You gonna do one tonight, Smitty?
Yeah, me too.
Probably gonna make it as tomorrow.
I can't tonight. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I typically don't go live unless there's some huge breaking news.
It's going to be full.
Yeah, there's only 10,000 left.
Yeah, but we can get in Garrett Wilson drafts, and we'll still do some stuff. What were you saying, Collusion?
Yeah, there's only 10,000 left right now.
Yeah. Spacula, what's going on with his trade offer request you say that you sent me? Isaac's dropping a $10 hauler. Appreciate you.
To the moon.
To the moon, Isaac. Isaac says, Josh Allen just doesn't target his tight ends. I really thought Knox was going to break out every single season tight end record, break every single tight end record after his brother passed and he got the new contract. Singletary got 10 less targets. I mean, that's also the thing is like, I just don't feel it with Knox. Not with the additional toy of Kincaid. And Kincaid is, in all intents and purposes, a wide receiver for Josh Allen. But yeah, I don't know. It's an okay strategy if somebody, is banking on, they like Knox. I think Knox is still going to get used. He could break off, like I said, some blocking assignments and run some routes. Maybe he catches 6 touchdowns, just by some random 3 TD game that he has. You know what I mean? Like that certainly could happen. I mean, we see players that aren't normal touchdown, threats pull in like 5 in 2 game span, and then like anything could happen. But I do think that the tight end pool is too deep for me. That's why I've not drafted him one time in best ball out of the hundreds of drafts that I've done. I've not drafted him one time. It's just a very deep tight end pool. Like I like Jelani Woods a little more, but that's just me, Spacula, where's the offer? I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for that $10 hauler. All right, guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. Final thoughts, Collusion, and thank you for all your super chats and support. Appreciate you.
Yeah, just one question, Smitty. I know you've done over 100 drafts. What is your favorite position to be in?
1.
What number pick? What pick?
Actually, not 1. I think like 4 or 5 or 6. Because I'm getting Bijan.
Really?
I'm sometimes getting Olave.
Yeah. Lately, I've been liking the 9, 10 because Bijan's been falling. And so I can get Bijan and Wilson, and I just like that area there. That's my personal preference. But
yeah,
great show again, Smitty. Have a great night. See you guys later. And let's go Mars, man.
Collusion later. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Isaac, again for the super chat. Let's see, Bama. Final thoughts, pal.
Well, on this draft here, I finally got my first Bijan Robinson. He fell in the 10th round, so I picked him up. I've always been on the Bijan train, but this is my first draft where I got to pick him up. But love your show. Appreciate all the content. I'm out.
Hey, appreciate you, Bama. Thank you for all your support. Later, pal. We got Vampy dialing in. Vampy, how are you doing, pal?
How we doing? I'm doing all right. Just recovering right now, but.
And remind me, it's the Achilles?
No, thank God.
What was
it? I just dislocated my kneecap.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I have a sprained knee. But I'm getting an MRI tomorrow, so I have a little bit more info.
I got like 3 injured subscribers. Someone tore their Achilles, and I was just mixing it up, and somebody tore their knee, and then So patellar, the kneecap dislocation. That's what Patrick Mahomes had. That's where your kneecap. You essentially have this groove in your bone there, and it sits like that, and his kneecap essentially slid out like this, but didn't tear his patellar tendon. I assume you didn't have any patellar tendon damage, or did you have a little bit?
I'm not sure. I need to get the MRI stuff back after tomorrow, but I had a doctor who looks at all the top professional surfers in the industry, and he looked at my knee, felt it and stuff, and he seems to think that there's at least no ACL damage, which is good.
Man, that's crazy. That's good. Yeah, you can pull on that. I'm sure he did that test where he yanked on it a little bit to see if there's tightness, and if there's tightness, you usually don't have an ACL tear. It's good if you don't have any meniscus tear or whatever. But when that patellar tendon slides out like Mahomes had, did it go back right into place, or did you have to have somebody put it into place?
No, unfortunately not. My leg was locked. The paramedics had to come and cut my favorite pair of jeans off, and it was on the side of my leg.
Yeah, like this. I don't know if you can see my model, but basically, that is painful, because not only is it painful just because that kneecap is pushing on other pieces of your nerves and all, but your patellar tendon is being just twisted, and so you can see it right here. It's twisted. See how it's twisted there? Mm-hmm. It's twisted up here. And so they had to take his kneecap and go, okay, here's this groove right here. They had to go get it right back into that spot. Now, the risk for you and for Mahomes and for anybody that has that dislocated kneecap is that there's so much lax there now in the patellar tendon that it's going to slide out again more often. It's going to just keep doing that. But there's a couple things you could do. Even if you had a little risk for that, you can wear protective gear and knee brace that will hold that, so that has a very little chance of sliding out of there. But that it should be okay. Whatever you did, were you cutting? What were you doing?
Yeah, I just was getting off of my bike, and I had planted my leg pretty hard, and then just slipped out, and I kind of heard a little pop or whatever, and then I fell to the ground, and my leg was locked in a 90-degree angle.
Well, you're lucky you didn't tear it. I tore my patellar tendon right below, so your kneecap is essentially attached here and here, and it's it's basically, if anybody can see here, your patellar tendon is almost you could think of it embedded into the backside of your patellar tendon, and I snapped it right at the bottom here. And so kind of your kneecap was on the side of your leg. My patellar tendon snapped here, and the entire kneecap and the top part of my patellar tendon were up in my thigh, right up here. And so when I first did it, my first thought was I dislocated my kneecap, but I knew down deep it was too high for it to be dislocated. Yours was to the side. Yours was still kind of in line of that shelf. Mine was up here, but I tried to push it in place. I did the 10-second rule. I tore it, and I'm like, oh my God, what if I move it real quick, it'll get back in the shelf, and it'll be okay. But no, mine was completely detached, and the bottom part of my patellar tendon was floating down here. My kneecap and this part was up in my thigh. And so I saw it in my thigh, the lower part. It was really, really hard, but it was so painful, bro. That patellar tendon is such a painful injury, regardless of where you tear it or stretch it or whatever. So hopefully you're okay. Just do all the rehab, and then consider wearing something protective, and just always wear it. Don't run the risk of, because if this happens again, your likelihood of tearing it's probably increased because it's looser.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at certain braces that'll, have it sit in kind of one position and work vertically as opposed to going horizontally like it did. So, I'm going to start rehabbing it pretty soon. But kind of sucks for right now, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, when do you know if you have any other knee damage? Are you going to do an MRI or anything?
Yeah, MRI tomorrow. The X-rays came back. There was nothing that was chipped or anything, which happens sometimes, and no fractures. So
you're probably fine.
And I've been walking on it, slowly with a brace in one direction.
Yeah.
It's not to mention you'll ruin another pair of jeans.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you cut and twist, that's when that can pop back out of that slot that it's hovering in. So, if you're just walking straight, you'll probably be fine. But yeah, Mahomes has a little bit of an increased risk of it happening again, because once you've had it happen, You could certainly go back to normal and never, ever have it happen again. Sometimes it's just that it got, the pressure of your twisting or whatever just had the kneecap slip out. But it's weird that you were just planting when it happened and you weren't like, running. You say were you like going really fast when you planted your leg down?
Not really, but the doctor that I spoke to said it could have happened because I have like pretty flat feet, and that will, lead it to happen. But I don't know. I guess it was maybe like too much weight. Like I guess I'm a bigger guy, but
you're in good company.
I'm not sure.
You're in good company with Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, appreciate you calling in. And any fantasy question before I close the phone line down? And
yeah, I mean, I guess I just have questions. Maybe it's too early about some of the teams that we might be overlooking, like Tampa Bay and like Denver, teams like that. Is there any hidden gems on these teams that we never talk about, or like Cleveland or something like that?
I mean, P. Ryan is definitely like undervalued in Denver for now, and Javonte could be undervalued. They both could be undervalued. I don't really feel like the wide receiver room, I feel like it's overvalued. Judy goes in round 4 sometimes, and I don't understand that at all. Cortland Sutton, I want nothing to do with. Tim Patrick's interesting from a real late perspective. Mims is very interesting from a very, very late perspective. But to be honest, until what I've said about Herbert, I feel 1,000 times for Wilson. I like Herbert a lot. I don't know that I like Wilson at all anymore. And Wilson's got to totally prove it to me before I buy into anything. Tight end positions, some people say is interesting in Denver, but I'm just staying away. As far as Cleveland, I understand people's ability to forgive, forget, and believe in Deshaun Watson at like round 8 territory. I get it. If I got sniped like crazy and I had no quarterbacks left, I could see myself going down a Deshaun Watson road in one league or something, but I'm still not super eager to try it. Jerome Ford's kind of interesting at RB. Chubb's concerning because he didn't score a single rushing touchdown in the final 6 weeks of the season when Deshaun returned. As soon as Deshaun returned, the man did not score one more rushing touchdown for 6 straight games, and so that's concerning to me. I don't think they're gems there. Tampa, I love Rashad White, but I think Baker and Trask look worse than Jimmy probably looks right now. It's really bad. So I'm kind of staying away from that situation altogether. Yeah, I don't see gems anywhere.
Yeah, I guess I just took Mike Evans in a best ball draft, and I think he could do something. I guess for Cleveland, I've always, probably because of the show, I've always loved Elijah Moore, and I kind of You know what? Potentially doing something.
I should have said Elijah Moore. I'm sorry. That is probably the one player I would buy into. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot to mention him. We liked him a lot in New York with Mike White, and then that kind of didn't go well that next year. I think Elijah Moore is definitely, out of everybody, maybe Mike Evans I still like and he's not a sleeper, but like he's falling into borderline sleeper territory, so he kind of is in a way. Doesn't matter if he's a known player, he's falling into that territory. So like Mike Evans and Elijah Moore out of Tampa, Cleveland, and Denver would be, I guess, the main guys I would go after. And I'm not even like going after Rashad White very much. I want to very badly, but I just don't. I mean, I fear he's gonna get run into the ground and have like horrible yards per carry and then get replaced or something that's not even his fault. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bummer about Rashad White. I feel like if Tom was still there, he would have a breakout season.
Mm-hmm. But there are other gems to find. So I'll be doing like a deep sleeper wide receiver video, deep sleeper running back video. I'll be doing a lot of those. Or I'll do an all-encompassing deep sleeper video, a middle round sleeper video, an early round sleeper video, because I do, unlike other people, define sleeper 100,000 different ways. I think you can. It's just anybody
Right.
that's being slept on. Doesn't mean if it's a big name. You get a lot of people that say, that's not a sleeper. You can't say that. I can say it. I did. I will. I'll continue to. You can have a sleeper in round 2.
Right. Agreed. I mean, yeah, I guess last thing, I think the only 2 quarterbacks I want this year are T-Law and Burrow, just because of where you can draft them. I feel like my teams where I was able to get Jalen Hurts last year, like later, were all my best teams. And so if I'm able to get those 2, I think I'll be set.
Yeah. I mean, they are the Burrow and Hurts from last year. One of them just happens to be Burrow again. Burrow and T-Law are Burrow and Hurts. I mean, it's the best. And some will say Herbert, and that's fine. I love Burrow in round 4. When Gibbs and Burrow are available, and this happened last night when we were drafting, I don't know what to do. I get put in like a spiral. I'm like, do I go Gibbs here in 4 or do I go Burrow in 4? And I took Gibbs because I knew I could get T-Law. And so I felt better about getting Gibbs and T-Law than getting Burrow and no Gibbs. But
yeah, I've been reaching a bit on Gibbs. I think I'm taking him in round 3 a lot, but right now it's probably a little too early. I'm sure when the season, in like, late July, he'll start creeping up to round round 3, round 2.
Hold on one second. I didn't get an alert for this, but yeah, Bama dropped a $20 hauler. Hold on. Bama, hold on one second, pal. I just saw it. Hang tight, Vampy.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Vampy, I'm not trying to rub it in that I get to get up right now and jump around, okay? So don't take offense to that.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Just kidding, Vamp. Look, Vamp, I'm cutting.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Just kidding. My knees are so bad. Some days I can't even cut.
Yeah, I feel you. I'll be back soon.
Bama, appreciate you at $20 hauler. I didn't see that come through. For some reason, my alerts weren't showing me. Bama, thank you for dropping that. Isaac dropped another question here. I've been targeting Okonkwo as late as tight end, as a late tight end pick in every draft. He's been going in that steal territory for sure, bro. I think Okonkwo. Ron, where's Okonkwo's ADP roughly? Or what round? We're seeing him like in round what? Hello, Ron? Hold on, Vamp. I think Ron fell asleep. Or he's on mute. He doesn't know it. Anyway, yeah, definitely a great steal. He's going to be a steal unless Hopkins goes there. I'd rather a running back 2 than an early tight end. I'd rather a running back 2 than an early tight end. I'm not sure what that part means, Isaac, but I appreciate your super chat and always chiming in with your little tidbits. Appreciate you. Bama, appreciate you. Thank you so much for that $20 hauler. Vampy, any final thoughts? Any final words?
That's it for me today. But I'll keep calling in because I'm stuck in bed. So
yeah, call in any time. The phone lines are open, man, and I'll be cranking out different topics. We're gonna be doing a weekly ADP show using the underdog data. I gotta screenshot that before it goes away. I don't know if it'll go away necessarily, but this puppy's almost gone, and I want to make sure I get this ADP data.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Vampy. Later.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Later. All right, Ron, you there? Hello? Well, since he's not here, let's send him on a lap. I've been wanting to do that all day. All right, Ron, well, we'll see you later. He's probably on a call. Appreciate every single one of you. I will see you all tomorrow. I may go live on the Barkley stuff a little later, but not until after I go to Spider-Man. We're going to Spider-Man tonight, movies. Get the little I love the pizza. I love the pizza at Harkins Theater. Oh, my God. It's the best pizza. It's literally one of the best pizzas around. I love it. I don't know why. It's kind of like gourmet pizza. It got the stadium seats, the recliners. Spider-Man. Doing it live. I will see you all maybe late tonight on Barkley, but that's it. We're not drafting tonight or anything like that. But that's the only thing I can imagine going live on, maybe Hopkins or Barkley. But the Barkley news on by Rappaport saying that holding out the entire season's essentially a possibility for Barkley. It's interesting take that Rappaport has that he hasn't really shared until right now. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit, but it will be a while before I get back online because I am going out to the movies. I will see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. And on that note, I'm going to play the 2 Trevor Lawrence Law Dog animations, and then I'm out of here.
A lion lives among us, posing as half man, half lawman. His golden mane is reportedly 6 feet long and is bathed in milk.
That's right.
His marvelous mane grows longer with each breath he takes. Legend has it that if you say T-Law in the dark in the bathroom 3 times, you lose your league instantly. Conspiracy fanatics have linked his triangle bone structure to the ancient pyramids and alien theory. Law Dog Milk for manes on sale this season. Soak your mane and win a league. Law Dog Milk.
Pour, soak, win. Drop a milk emoji. Ron was on a call. No problem, Ron. We sent you on a lap. We thought you maybe wouldn't have heard it, so appreciate you. Go get your T-Law milk. See you all later. Deuces. Beard dropping the milkage. Let's go on, Blake. Appreciate you being here. Blackbeard, appreciate you. Isaac, appreciate you. AC, appreciate you. Vampy, appreciate you. Golf, appreciate you. And I appreciate all these super chatters tonight. Bama dropping the $2. Isaac dropping the $5. Talking about a Conquo. Isaac dropping the $9.99. Josh Allen doesn't need. Josh Allen just doesn't target his tight ends. Spacula. Pickett runs a 4.75. Isaac. Ask Ron if Pickett is better than Fields. Bama dropping the $20 hauler. Spacula sending me a fake phantom trade offer. Made me go look 2 or 3 times. And I'm going to look again real quickly and see if I see it. I don't think you sent me anything. I'm going into the league right now. I don't see it, Spacula. I don't see it. Appreciate you, though, Spacula. Thank you. Gerardo, appreciate you dropping the Superflex question. Ozzy, appreciate you. Ian, thank you for the super chat. Kincaid to the moon. Bryson, thank you for all the super chats. Isaac, thank you for the other one. Bryson again. Thank you, Bryson. Isaac again. Bryson again. Hunter, appreciate you. Sick Nasty. I don't know what your Marsman card broke. Are you just joking? Russian Collusion. Appreciate that $20 hauler. Bella, check yourself. Appreciate you. Dallas, appreciate you. Thomas, thank you. Bryson again, thank you. And finally, Overcome in the beginning. Is Michael K. CPA here? Is Michael K. CPA here? He's always like first in the building, but I don't know if he's always last out of the building. I have a little special something for Michael K. CPA that I found in my audio file, in my audio vault. Is Michael here? If he's not here, I'll have to save it for another day. Let me just wait real quickly and see if Michael's here. Hit that thumb up button on your way out the door. We got 121 thumbs up, very respectable number, and I appreciate that. But any of you 87 that are still here, please hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. T-Law P standing up. P standing up. He does everything standing up. Number 2 standing up. Prime, appreciate you. Blackbeard, Golf, drafting on Underdog. Use promo code Smitty, guys, on Underdog. And if you want to draft with us tomorrow night, you got to hit that link. I've pinned it in the live chat. I'll drop the link again right this very second. Here's the link. Here's the link. Play Underdog Fantasy. It's pinned as well. And they'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. And on that note, I am out of here. I'll see you all later. I'll leave you with my biggest supporter and fan that I know of. Here he is.
Hey, Sway. It's a fantasy football show.
Hey, Pal Derby. Appreciate Pal Derby being in here. Pal Derby's my guy. Okay, here we go. Sway.
Hey, Sway. It's a fantasy football show. Come on, son. Want a little snack? Come on, let's watch Uncle Smitty.
Look at my eyes. Understand the words coming out of my mouth right now. Gibbs will climb. You'll have your time to draft him early. I promise.
Get Breece.